Today we're going to be looking at the Denver Jack Sap. It's a hard sap, meaning that there are steel plates inside here. It's a classic design. You've probably seen designs like this before, manufactured by companies. This is a handmade one from Steven over there at Green Man Leather, hand stitched, hand designed. It's actually designed off the classic old school blackjack or I guess sap designs. This one's a slightly different one. I believe, I'm not, don't quote me on this, but I believe traditionally there's one solid piece of leather down there, and Steven has designed his to be very flexible. It's got two separate 5mm steel plates in there. So there's one about here and there's one about here. And it's really good because, again, one of the big things I like about saps is the flexibility. When you make an impact with an edge tool here, you want that flexibility to carry that weight through as opposed for it to bounce off. This specific design is about 2.5 inches wide at the widest point, and it's 10 inches long. And I think the length thing in a situation like this is really good. And I brought these blades out to an old school to demonstrate that. An old school Bowie knife, Civil War era style Bowie knife, is fairly comparable. It's got obviously a longer tip, but this is a standard hunting knife you might run into with any thug on the street might be carrying something like this, or a kitchen knife, and this is the exact same length. You haven't done serious damage. You might break a knuckle, you might break his wrist. If somebody has a knife and you have a sap, in the eyes of the law, keeping yourself safe is a legitimate option. You haven't cut any tendons, you've broken knuckles. That's about the case. You might have broken his wrist if you smack him on the wrist. I've been in a situation where I've had to deploy a baton against a knife, and yeah, the police understand, that he has a knife and you have an extendable baton. You need to do what you do to keep it safe. So this sap itself is just shy, I guess, of 3/4 of a pound. It's 0.65 of a pound of steel plate in there. It's got a fair amount of play. Like, if you take a look at this, it's got that to that. So it does have a fair amount of give when you make an impact. Again, and that's got a good impact on it. It has a hand strap. If you decide that you don't want to be losing your grip, that is an option. Although this design, I don't think I would probably be using the hand strap as much. I would keep it in my pocket. And again, it's a classic design. It's a lot like the Frontier in that you've seen this design around for years. I believe in the 40s, 50s, this became really popular, maybe even a little earlier, with the police and nefarious low-life types in the criminal underworld who used to carry these. But this design, it's probably just about 3/4 of an inch thick. You can slip it in the back pocket. You can slip it in a belt, in a front pocket, in a jacket, if you need to walk through an area of town. This is a little that you don't want to be walking through unequipped. It's a little larger than I would normally carry, but I really like this design. It's solid and it's a hard sap, so I would probably use this if I was concerned seriously about my safety. It's not just a quick little wrap and get them off. This is going to do some serious damage on somebody if you end up cracking them upside the skull. You might have to deal with fractures and things like that. I would consider, again, with the maxim of the Filipino martial arts being wood seeks bone, steel seeks flesh, the blades seek fleshy targets, and this is definitely a bone breaker when it comes to cracking somebody in the jaw or in the knuckles or whatever the case may be. It's got a wide surface area. 2.5 inches of surface area is enough to debilitate a lot of a lot of attackers with targeting. A wider paddle area, it has a wider area of impact, so you don't need to be as precise as with a thinner area. When we're doing knife sparring, that's your target area, is the edge. So if you're targeting specific targets, it's a little easier said than done. With a wider impact area, if that's your impact area, pretty much anything that falls in there is catching a little bit of it. But again, the severity of using a knife for self-defense as opposed to a sap is significant. Being an edged and impact weapons instructor, I can't really justify showing people blade techniques when I can actually show them the exact same principles while using a jack sap. So in the future, watch for a lot more of the jack sap videos coming from me, and yeah, be sure to stay tuned and check out the Green Man Leather's website if you're interested in any of the products that he's putting on.
On the King's birthday we put to sea. How I wish I was in Sherbrooke now. We were 91 days to Montego Bay, pumping like madmen all the way. God damn them all.